back from the dead.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Hope you had a good week so far, and I hope you look away to the weekend. We are in for a cracker weekend of Super Rugby. Some big matchups coming up this weekend, and in this segment, we're just going to be covering the matches that are going to be played this weekend, and we're also going to cover a bit of Six Nations as well as look at some injury news of the teams for all the fantasy managers. And let's look it into it quickly. So first and foremost, we have the Highlanders up against the Sharks. The Highlanders fielding a very interesting 10-12 combination. Now they are fielding Mitch Hunt, who came from the Crusaders, who famously slotted the drop goal for them against the Highlanders, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, and to win the game for them. And he'll be starting at 10 for the Highlanders, getting his opportunity. And the All Black, Josh Ioane, will be playing inside centre, or as they would call it, second 5'8" in New Zealand, of course. So it's quite interesting to see the tactic that they might employ. You know, generally the Highlanders are a team that does look to kick the ball a lot and play a very defensive-oriented game, much like the Springboks and the Bulls. But I think with the new coaching involved, they might have a dual, well, they do have the dual playmaker role, and they might have a bit more of an attacking structure and a bit more running rugby to their pedigree this season. Also, Madosh Tambwe is in for the injured Subu Nkosi on the wing. And that's going to be the matchups for the weekend, or for at least the first match for the weekend is the Highlanders against the Sharks. I feel still, although the Sharks are a very good travelling team, I still believe that even after a good win against the Bulls, I think at Four-a-Side Bar Stadium, it's going to be a bit difficult for them. The Highlanders doesn't have the best squad in Super Rugby, albeit in the New Zealand Conference, but I still think they have enough firepower. They are playing at home. The Sharks have travelled, and I think first up they would probably struggle. So I'll go Highlanders by 8 on this one. Only for the Super Baru guys, eh? Then second half we have the Brumbies against the Rebels. Now, look, the Rebels were atrocious last Saturday against the Sunwolves. Very disappointing. Look, I personally picked Mariko Koribedi on the wing as my captain too. Totally backfired. Didn't get a point for it. Or many points for him. And the Rebels look very, very bad against the Sunwolves. They tried to get a comeback in, but it was too little too late, and I don't see the Brumbies being toppled at home, at least against the Rebels. So I'll say Brumbies comfortably 17 points. And then we have the biggie, one of the biggies, which is the Chiefs against the Crusaders. Now, first up, Richie Mo'unga won't be playing. Now, I thought Brett Cameron might come into his place because he has been the backup to Mo'unga. Turns out, or the fullback, David Lavili, normally plays in the 13 jersey. He'll be playing at fly half this weekend, or first 5-8 for my New Zealand friends. And Cameron will be playing off the bench. So I'm not sure how Avili's going to adapt at 10. And he's going to come up against Aaron Cruden. David McKenzie's back for the Chiefs. So I think at home, I think I'll go with the Chiefs actually. Chiefs by 5. The Crusaders are good, but they've lost a lot of experience. They played against a very semi-inexperienced Waratahs team last weekend and lead quite a bit of points. So I always say these New Zealand derbies are tough and they are very hard and brutal. But I think at home, the Chiefs will put only by 5 points. Up next, we have the Waratahs and the Blues. Jordan Highland is in for the Blues, in for Rico Ioane. He's injured for a couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about that later on in the segment as well, with the injuries. Look, I don't see the Blues getting this one done, to be honest. I think the Tars at home, they were decent in patches against the Crusaders, so I think the Waratahs at home will top the Blues. And like I said, they lost Ioane with a lot of firepower on the outside, and he scored 2 tries last week, and the moment he went off, things started to become unsettling for the Blues, and I think that he was actually key to their success up until that point in that match. And with him not being there this weekend, I don't think the Blues are going to pull it through. So I'll say the Waratahs by 6. And then we go to Joburg, where we see the Lions take on the Reds at Emirates Air Park. Interestingly, the versatile back, James O'Connor, he played, I think, inside centre last weekend, but he's going to play at fly-off this weekend. Come up against Springbok and World Cup winner Alton Yankees. The Reds generally don't travel well. They are a struggling traveling team. The Lions had a bad loss in Argentina that had to travel back, obviously. And look, it's quite a bit of it's quite taxing on the teams in terms of all the jet lag and all that. But I think on the high file, the Lions are accustomed to the conditions, and I think they'll beat the Reds by at least 10 points. Yeah, also for the Lions, sorry, my bad. Andries Coetzee is back at fullback, and Mornay van der Berg, the new number 9. I'm not very familiar with him. I saw him at Superhero Sunday. I saw his play. He was quite decent, but I don't know much about the kid, so how will he step up in the absence of a Dylan Smith? So we'll have to see what happens there, but I still think the Lions should do it by 10 points. And then another big one, the North-South Derby, the last one to be played at Newlands, the Stormers against the Bulls. Now, the Bulls haven't had a win against the Stormers at Newlands since 2011. They now have a squad which is very much a very inexperienced squad. It's mostly made up of varsity guys with a couple of Springboks in it. An interesting matchup is Steven Kitshoff up against his Springbok partner or teammate Trevor Nyakani. That's going to be quite a hot one to contest. I think the scrums will be vital for both sides. And Sampivo Matanzi now is also out with an injury, so he won't be on the bench for the Bulls. Vian Herbst to the bench, accommodating Trevor Nyakani. And yeah, I think the Stormers will win this one easily by at least 13 points. If the Bulls are going to have a tough time at scrum time, first up, they're going to have a very long day. I think that it's up to Trevor and Liesel to put just some sort of pressure on the Stormers scrum, just to get them some stability. Not dominate per se, but get them some clean ball for their backs. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long day for them because they still have a guy like Walker Lowe and Ali van Mark coming on. And we saw what they did last week against the Hurricanes. So I'll be very, very wary if I'm a Bulls fan. Luckily, I'm not, as you can see. So, yeah, that's this second last game of the weekend. And the last one is the Jaguars against the Hurricanes. I went Jaguars by 11. Reason being, I just feel that at home they are quite good. They teach the Lion quite a lesson. The Hurricanes were poor against the Stormers, although the Stormers were very good last weekend. Only bad news for the Jaguars is Talgi is out with a minor injury, so a bit of a setback there for them. But overall, they have a very strong squad, and the team hasn't been announced yet. But I think that they will still win at home. They're very tough to beat there. The crowd is quite hostile and vocal. And just like Newlands, I think the Hurricanes will have to deal with that pressure as well as the on-field pressure for them. So yeah, I'll say Jaguars by 11. Okay, now we move on to the injury news. As I've mentioned, Sampivo Matanzi is an AC joint. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Dylan Sage, he actually has an ankle fracture. He'll be out up to 3 months. So this could actually hinder his prospects to go to the Olympics for the Blitzboks, and I wish Dylan a speedy recovery. And then I spoke about Rico Ioane has a broken hand. He'll be out for a couple of weeks as well. They haven't specified for how long as of yet, but he won't be playing this weekend, as I've mentioned, with Jordan Island coming into his place on the wing. And they play a lot of the Chiefs. He went for a scan. I'm not sure what his injury is. They haven't revealed it yet, but he'll definitely not be playing against the Crusaders. And then Angus Starvar, my namesake, he showed some concussion symptoms, and he also won't be considered for this matchup. I also thought that David McKenzie would not be risked, but they were playing him at fullback, so I've got to scratch that one out. And then, of course, the news of Sia Kolisi. He actually has a grade 3 tear on his knee, and he'll be out for at least 6 up to 8 weeks. So the Springbok and Stormers captain will be sidelined for a long time. John Dobson has said that he will have an off-field role. So I don't think he'll be the water boy with his knee being in a brace, but I still think he will, in some sort of capacity, will captain the team. I saw last week at the stadium, I think it was off camera, but he was shouting stuff to Dylan Lates, and Dylan responded, and the guy still played well. So I think he'll still be out there chirping and putting himself out there and giving his input to the team and making sure they do what they need to do and keeping them calm on the side. So yeah, it's unfortunate that Kolisi got injured, but maybe a blessing in disguise, thinking that he's been so busy after the World Cup with his personal business, and the man hasn't had much of a break yet. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him how he was. He said to me, "Yo, brah, I'm tired, so maybe the guy needs a bit of rest." And then, of course, Mbonambi is out for 2 to 6 weeks. Hamstring injury. I hope it's only 2 weeks. I hope it's not too bad for him, because he's quite an instrumental part for the Stormers. It's kind of to be a very able replacement, another Springbok, one cap Springbok. But of course, the Stormers lineout hasn't been great as well. As well as the Bulls last weekend. But I think the lineup will have to be fixed for the Stormers, and the goal kicking by Darren Williamson will have to be much better against Morningstar, because in a match where it might be very much tighter than 27-0 scoreline, if you're going to miss a penalty or two or conversion, it might just cost you the game. And I don't think that the Newlands faithful will be too happy with that, with the Bulls winning them at Newlands in the last match to play them there. So, yeah, Gaza, you better step up, my man. Yeah, and also just some minuscule news. So France have leapfrogged the Wallabies in the world rankings. They're now 6th in the world, Wallabies being 7th. Now, this is kind of like a familiar tale. Like when the Springboks were taken over by Rassie Erasmus, Dave Rennie, the former Chiefs coach, took over at the Wallabies, and maybe, I hope not the case, but maybe the Wallabies might be a very strong contender come 2023 in France. Look, Rassie managed to turn the team around from being 7th in the world to being Rugby Championship winners, World Cup winners, and getting the #1 ranking in the world back. So, for the first time in 10 years, by the way. So, who knows? Remy's quite a very seasoned coach, quite accomplished. He's been at Glasgow Warriors, and I'm sure he'll do well with Australia and make him a top 30 side at least in the world again. Some other news: the test venues for the Springboks have been announced at home. So on the 4th of July, they'll play the Scottish at Newlands, which will be the last test at Newlands actually, and will be an emotional one for the players obviously, and for the supporters as well. If you are a big fan of the stadium. And also then a week after that, they'll play on Mandela Day, the 18th. They'll play Scotland again in the second match of the 2-match series. And also they'll play Georgia. That's at Kings Park. And then they'll play Georgia. I think it's the week after that. Yes, they'll play Georgia. I think it's the 23rd. Let me just double check my notes. No, sorry, Georgia's the 18th. And Scotland is the 4th, and then a week after that. But in any case, and then the bigger ones, the Rugby Championship, they'll play Argentina first up at Alice Park, Emirates Airline Park as it's known now. That's going to be the 8th of August. Then the 19th of September, the Wallabies will be playing the Springboks at Loftus Versfeld, where they haven't won a match ever. They have like a very bad record there, and I hope the boss can keep it that way. Also, I think they are like 7-0 against the Wallabies there, so it's quite a proud record, and we don't want to blemish that one, obviously. And yeah, then the big one. So for the first time in history, the All Blacks will be playing on the Lowveld against the Springboks at Imbobuya Stadium in Nelspruit. So I think it's quite good for those people. They get a bit of test action, because I don't think they get a lot. They normally have to travel to either Loftus or they have to travel to Alice Park. You know, it's still quite a bit of distance from Nelspruit, so good for them. And then, yeah, just Six Nations recap of last weekend. We had Wales beating Italy 42-0. We had Ireland beating Scotland 19-12. And we had France upsetting the English 24 points to 17. Eddie Jones eating humble pie yet again. Yeah, and the French are looking good. They look very good. They have a new coach, and things look going up for them. But which French team will turn up this weekend? They will play Italy, so we think they'll bag the full house of points and top the Six Nations log. France take on, as I said, they take on Italy. Scotland takes on England. I don't think that England will actually make the same mistake as they did, to be naive and just think they can turn up and win the match. They'll give it to the Scottish. And I saw someone said, one of the English flanks, I'm not sure who it was, he said that we had Scotland and they had us. So it's going to be quite an intense one this weekend. Hope I can catch it through all the Super Rugby action. And then there's a big one in Ireland, when Ireland take on Wales. Now remember, both sides have new coaches. Joe Smith moved on, a New Zealander. Warren Gatland moved on, a New Zealander. Both sides have new coaches, and it's going to be the very first match. I think it's probably the biggest match of the Six Nations for the weekend, you know, because you kind of don't know what they expect from both sides, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go about their ways. So I think that's the recap for the week. I'll see you guys on Sunday, hopefully, depending on how busy I'll be. Otherwise, it'll be on Monday to do the recap of round 2. And I'll chat to you guys soon. And have a good weekend coming up. Have a good Friday tomorrow. I hope the week hasn't been treating you too badly. And remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, it's vital. But not to sound like a broken record, I'll see you guys soon. And cheers. Adios, amigos.